Hello, the internet. It is Saturday, the 14th of June, 2025, and welcome back to the channel. You know, a few weeks ago, was it 3 weeks ago, maybe 4, maybe a month ago, we did a stream where we were talking about ghost camping, what the hell ghost camping is in Australia. During that stream, it came to my attention. Was it during the stream or after? It was after the stream. It came to my attention that, well, first of all, we discovered that we pay to camp in national parks in Australia because of COVID. We discovered that. That's when it became a thing. Afterwards, I was just scrolling through Instagram, which is not a place I normally scroll. I normally just do that on TikTok. But Instagram was where I was at. And I came across a channel or a dude who was talking about in Finland, it's free to camp anywhere you want in a national park for a minimum of, or a maximum of 2 nights. So 3 days, 2 nights. And it got me thinking, why in Australia are we still paying to camp in our national parks? If this was a thing that they brought in during COVID to contact trace, to make certain people were not going where they shouldn't, and to make sure clusters and groups and, you know, all that stuff. I was going to say all that crap, all that stuff. Well, now we're on the other side of COVID, so shouldn't they have dropped those fees and it should now be free to camp in a national park in this wonderful land of Australia? No, it's not. And in fact, it's going to get worse. We discovered on that stream that they're going to put the prices up. So what would normally be around $6 to $7 for a campsite, apparently they're going to be charging up to about $50 per campsite. So it's almost going to be dearer to go camping than it would be to go to a slothful cheap hotel, you know? Now look, before we go too deep here in this stream, I don't have the answers for this, but I want to explore it a little deeper. I want to find out about that Finland thing, and I want to find out what ChatGPT has to say about this situation. But I also want to alert you, yes, we are streaming on YouTube. If you're watching on one of the other platforms, how many are there watching outside of YouTube? More. There's too many. I got 31 viewers in totes on the Beam machine. Most of those are coming from Partai. They're phony viewers. Did you know Noise is closing down? DLive, there's viewers over on DLive. Come on over to the Tubes of You. This is where we're going to hang out on YouTube if you want to comment, because I'm only going to be looking at that YouTube chat, even though there's not a lot going on there these days. And another thing, we're still using my iPhone as the NDI source. Man, Panasonic repairs in Australia. Wow. I mean, this is now 3 months into, is that right? June? Nah, it can't be 3 months. It's at least 2 months. Yeah, going through the official Panasonic channel to repair a camera, in this case the GH5, it takes a long time. So we're just using the NDI. And I was going to hold out until the camera came back to stream. That would be like stupid 2 months ago. Here's a video I found on the project. By the way, got a little double. I got to remember, this is not cool. Beam stream. No, it's Kick. My bad. Whenever I open up the tab, Kick is playing in the background. This is the channel or the TV station, The Project, which I've never watched. Well, I know of it, but I don't watch it. But it did just get axed recently. Yeah, but there's a story here. New South Wales National Parks to increase fees to... Now, this is to counteract the ghost camping saga, which I'll stand by. I'll go back and just address that. I stand by what I said on that stream a few weeks ago. I think ghost camping is a good thing for campgrounds, not a bad thing, but it's not going to be good if they increase the fees to, you know, the idea behind it is they increase the fees so people will actually turn up if you make a booking. I said, and I'll say it again, ghost camping, people booking sites and not turning up is a good thing because there's less people, yet they're still earning the revenue. Less people in a campground is better than more people any time of the day, right? But now that they're jacking the prices up, will that just mean less people in total will bother going camping? It'll be for the rich only. Camping used to be for everybody, for every walk of life, right? You meet all kinds of crew at campsites. Now it's going to be like, well, you can't afford to go camping. What are you going to do instead? stay home and have a domestic argument, more than likely. So let's take a look at this from the project machine. Placements.
Is there anything more Australian than camping? For the purposes of this next story, there absolutely is not. But some believe the great Aussie holiday is under threat, thanks to a steep hike in government fees on hitting the great outdoors. The dewy ground carpeted in autumn leaves, the smoky scent of a recent campfire, surrounds teeming with wildlife. Yes, sharing a dressing room with Nick Cody can be a challenge, which is why I like to escape it all by going camping.
Hey mate, can I have these?
No.
Thanks, mate.
Camping is one
So these are little skits that they put in here for comedic value.
of the more wholesome, soul-restoring activities you can do, providing you keep your eyes peeled for dangers like snakes, cliffs, and
Increased fees.
the New South Wales National Parks and Wildlife Service is proposing a standardised fee system for national park campgrounds that'll push prices in some places up by 600%.
600% increase? Excuse me? What?
Initial reaction is that it could price or
Hey, this is, I know who this is. Why do I know Gina Chick? Why do I know who this is? You know when you see someone and you're like, I know her, but why do I know her? She's the chick. She's the Gina Chick. She's the woman who won Australian Alone. Yeah, what better person to ask than a TV star?
ordinary everyday Aussies out of being able
Yeah, that's her.
is that it could price ordinary everyday Aussies out of being able to take their families camping. And for me, this is one of the most beautiful ways that Australians can go out and meet the environment, and especially young
Fully.
people.
The service is proposing a 6-tier system with more facilities equaling more costs, meaning sites with barbecues, flush toilets and hot showers could jump from $16 per night to as much as $54.
Now, okay, so these tiers, these structures, why can't it just go back to you just drive in somewhere and you camp? Like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it's nice to have a flushing toilet and a cold shower, but it's also kind of rad to not have that. You know, like it's good just to pull up somewhere and go, this spot is remote. There's nothing here. You've got to bring in and bring out everything. And that should just be free, right? Like that's why are we paying to camp in national parks? Don't we pay our taxes? Isn't this a government thing? Why isn't this part of, like, why isn't this like driving on a road? It's there. You pay your taxes. You should be able to use it, utilize it. Vehicle or walk-in access tier 1 is still free. Okay, so there are still free campsites then. That answers my question. Tier 2 is a pit toilet. Tier 3 includes tables and a barbecue. Tier 4 is shelters. I say get rid of all the tiers. I say just get rid of it all and just say this is the site. If you want to camp here, have fun. And if you don't like that and you want to go somewhere where there are facilities, go to those places. There are private campsites, right? Hell, down here, it's pretty much all private, right?
Or even 89 during peak season. Parks and Wildlife says these changes are needed to improve maintenance due to an increase in visitors.
These changes are needed to improve maintenance due to an increase in visitors. So we're talking about population getting too big. That's what we're more talking about, right? We're talking about the space is now no longer suitable for the amount of people that are choosing to use it, i.e. there's too many people choosing to use it. So should we be stopping people from, should there be a cap on the amount of people going into the national park? Which, heaven forbid, that kind of already exists in the terms of you make your booking to the site and if it's not available, you don't go. That already happens, right? If there's no sites available, you don't go. And then they'll argue, well, the people that argue it will say, well, that's because of ghost camping. People are booking sites and not turning up. Now here's me saying, well, isn't that a good thing because there's less people then? Which would then reduce the amount of maintenance because there's less crew using it. I tell you, I'm right here. I'm right. Everybody else is wrong.
But also that a raised price will cut down on ghost bookings, in which people...
Here we go. This is the meat and guts of it.
Parks and Wildlife says these changes are needed to improve maintenance due to an increase in visitors. But also that a raised price will cut down on ghost bookings, in which people book campsites but don't bother turning up.
So the idea behind it is if it's that expensive, you will definitely use it. If you've paid for it and it's a little bit more expensive, you will certainly use it. I disagree with that.
Preventing others from using the space.
And that means places like Barrington Tops are going to see their fees jacked up.
But Parks and Wildlife denies they're just jacking up, telling the project...
The proposal would provide consistency and equity for all visitors by linking fees to the level of services and facilities provided and seasonal demand.
What a load of bollocks. Like, again, why do we need to pay to go into a national park? Why do we even need to pay for that? It should be there for you to use. It's your national park. Then, of course, they'll argue, well, we provide the services, we provide the roads, we provide the barbecues, the amenities. So then get rid of them. Scrap that crap. Make it the national park. Like, arguably it's better not to have that stuff there anyway. It's more natural to not have a barbecue and a pit toilet, right? It's more natural just to have it natural. Everything's getting charged. Like, you got to pay to go camping. I mean, is it coming down to paying to go for a swim at the beach? Is that going to be the next? What if the beach is part of the national park? You got to pay to go to the beach now? Is that where it's going? It's fucking shithouse.
And I think it's really important that there is a fair system where everyone has access to the wilderness, where
If anything, you're going to hate this, but if anything, it should be paid for visitors, but Australians, passport holders, residents, locals, it should be free for, right? That would be better. You're an Aussie, oh, you can come and stay here and do this, it's yours. You're not an Australian, you want to come and have a look, then you pay. Is that wrong? Seems pretty fair to me.
one can go camping and have an ability to go into our
What did she say? Sorry, I talked over.
There is a fair system where everyone has access to the wilderness, where anyone can go camping and have an ability to go into our national parks. But it needs thoughtfulness and it needs a system that is going to work for everyone. And I don't think this one does.
Good on you, Gina. I don't agree either. I don't think it is. By the way,
and it needs a system that is going to work for everyone. And
look how close this branch is to her head. Why is that the only spot she could stand? Look how close that twig is to like slicing into her cheek. But I do agree with you, Gina.
Don't think this one does.
So isn't increasing camping fees really the best way to address these issues? Or will price hikes put nature hikes further out of reach?
Well, Mike Atkinson is a survivalist and was the runner-up in Alone Australia. Mike, Parks and Wildlife says these changes are needed. Are they wrong?
There is some change needed because the booking system doesn't work very well. Before COVID, there wasn't a booking system for most of the campgrounds in New South Wales National Parks, and it was fine then.
This is also a contestant from Alone Australia. He just said that before COVID, there was no booking system in the majority of national parks and the system worked fine. So like I said, this is brought in because of COVID and it's a hangover effect, right? This is the hangover from COVID.
Because the booking system doesn't work very well. Before COVID, there wasn't a booking system for most of the campgrounds in New South Wales National Parks, and it was fine then. I think they do need to remove the booking system for those that didn't have one before, but I don't think the answer is to put enormous prices on them.
Mike, what do you think is the best way to combat ghost bookings or people who don't show up?
The best way is to remove that system for those campsites that didn't have them before COVID. It was only introduced to manage an infectious disease. That's now passed. There has been, even since I was a little kid, when you camped on busy coastal sites, there was a booking system and fees. Now, they didn't have a ghost booking problem then because you've got to pay so much. Instead of just removing that system, they're now going to put those high fees on almost all of the campgrounds. That is going to block a whole bunch of people out. Poor people, young people, they are not going to be able to camp in New South Wales National Parks campgrounds.
People are just going to be saying, well, I'm not paying. I'm just not going to contribute to that. I don't agree with it. I'm not paying.
Yeah, I understand your concerns here, and everyone's focusing on the price rises, I think for understandable reasons. Parks and Wildlife, though, have told us that the changes are not that simple. They'll actually lower camping fees outside of peak season, as well as remove fees for the most remote or the most basic campsites.
This peak season thing is pretty comical, really. You think about it. So they increase the fees when the best time to go there is. Hey, Charlotte, how you doing? How you going, Charlotte? Good to see you. Yeah, so when the best time of the year to be somewhere, they increase the fees. I've never quite worked that out either. It's like let's just take pause here for a second. It's like when you take a train, they have a thing called peak hour, right? And the ticket is dearer. This is in New South Wales anyway. Maybe all of Australia. I'm not 100% certain, but definitely in New South. The time when the majority of people need to use, let's say you're living in the suburbs and you got to get to the city for your commute to work. Those normal work hours, 9 to 5, right? So the main bulk of people using the service is around those hours, like let's say 7:30 through till 9:30, in that bracket in the morning, and then again from say 4:30 p.m. to maybe 6 p.m. That's the peak hour. And what do? Oh, more of you want to use it, we'll jack the price up. It should be the other way around, right? It should be that's the time when everybody needs it. Okay, we make it cheaper for you there to encourage you to use it. Because what happens? People are like, well, it's going to cost me, I don't even know how much anymore, $80 for a weekly ticket. It's all Opal, all right? It's going to cost more to use the train because of the peak hour fee than it would be to drive my vehicle. So I'll just drive my vehicle to work. And then you get traffic on the roads, congestion, more pollution, blah, blah, blah. If you want to encourage people to use something, make it cheaper during the period of highest demand. This peak hour crap, I've never understood it. I've never got it. Government sucks, no free lunch. I think it's to do with the rise in homeless people. Now that's interesting, Charlotte. I have not even considered that. But hang on, homeless people aren't using... Are you talking the trains or the national parks now? I think we're mixing things up. I don't think homeless people are going camping, and I don't think they're using the trains. They're going to start charging tolls and parking fees on the Great Ocean Road. Well, I was saying before on this stream, where does it end? Like if a national park, if a beach, actually, I've already answered my own question. Gary Beach in the Royal National Park, you do pay to use that. I mean, fuck. What happens then when everything gets considered a national park? Like what happens when the entire coastline is considered crown land and therefore part of the royal and part of the national and part of the park system, and suddenly you got to pay to go to the beach? Are you kidding me? In the parks, you can't pitch a tent or use amenities for free. Yeah, that's right. It's definitely happening. Yeah. We dug into that already. There are free camping available where it's just no facilities, which I think maybe it needs to go back to remove the facilities and just have the national park. You drive in on a dirt road, you find the spot where you want to camp, and you camp. That was what it was like when I was a kid. But yeah, I don't know. This came about because of COVID, and I'm not still sniffling. I'm not still sick. I'm not infected. Not many people are, but yet we've still got this hangover effect. It's pretty lame.
Doesn't that mean that there is good in this, that there is something to be considered on balance here?
Okay, I don't agree with that statement. So Threadbow Diggings, the example of, they have pictures in their proposal of this campsite. At the moment...
Wait. I missed all of that spiel.
Reasons. I understand your concerns here, and everyone's focusing on the price rises, I think for understandable reasons. Parks and Wildlife, though, have told us that the changes are not that simple. They'll actually lower camping fees outside of peak season, as well as remove fees for the most remote or the most basic campsites. Doesn't that mean that there is good in this, that there is something to be considered on balance here?
Okay, I don't agree with that statement. So Threadbow Diggings, the example of, they have pictures in their proposal of this campsite. At the moment, there is zero camping fee. In high season, it'll be 36. In low season, it'll be 24. Are they saying, oh, we're being generous because we've only knocked it up to 24 from $0?
No, I think what they're saying
is...
it's
currently zero.
Yeah. That's that particular case. My understanding of what they're saying is that there are some campsites throughout the state that will be cheaper with this arrangement than they...
Okay, name them. List them. Charlotte, I got moved on recently for sleeping in my car at a petrol station after a late flight, and I was too tired to drive home. In a car, I pay rego and license, etc. Yeah. Well, look, the obvious solution there is if you're going to camp or if you're going to sleep in your vehicle, just do it in suburbia. It's easy to just park up in a suburban street. Nobody knows that there's a car there. Like there's cars in the streets all the time. So you parked there because it was well lit and 24. Oh, okay. For a security, for a female by themselves, I get it. Yeah, okay, that's fair. You want it to be safe? Yeah, okay. And open 24 hours. So who moved you on? Did you say? I'm a female, definitely. Yeah, fair enough. But was it a cop that moved you on? Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's another story altogether, I guess. Like, can you be told to move on if you're? I mean, at that point, you're after a late flight and you're too tired to drive home. So it's better for you not to drive, right? It's better for you. It's better for everybody else. It's a safety issue. It's not putting anyone else at harm on the roads. There needs to be some kind of leniency or some kind of allowance for that kind of thing. Like if a cop sees you and they say, the police were called, worried that you were a vagrant, or heaven forbid that you might have been homeless. If the cop sees that, they should express some kind of, what's the word? Not ambiguity. It should be, heaven forbid I use this term. There's nuance to it, right? Like it's not everyone. You're doing the right thing, right? You've just come on a late flight. You've still got to drive a couple of hours home from the airport. You're like, I can't do that. I'm exhausted. I can't. If I drive, it's going to be an accident. So I'm going to pull up somewhere. I'm a single woman. I'm going to pull up in a 24/7 petrol station, and I'm going to park up under the lights so it's obvious that it's a vehicle and there's someone in it. 4-hour drive, right? 4-hour drive. There's no hotels in Avalon Airport. I mean, look, not even that. Like you shouldn't have to pay for a hotel. You should be able to do what you want to do. There's no crime in sleeping. There shouldn't be. What's the crime in sleeping? What the fuck? What are we even discussing here? You're going to sleep. You're in a car space, a space that's designed for cars, and you're sleeping in it. What on earth is wrong with that? It's
currently when out of season or when out of peak season?
Well, they're saying 10% of them will be free at the moment, or before COVID.
10% free campsites. That means how many people are using them now? And there's more people that are going to be using them, and they're all going to cram into these 10% that are free. What a load of shit.
They're saying 10% of them will be free at the moment, or before COVID. There was, I would say, 50 to 60% that were free. So
they should all be free. Every campsite, every national park campsite should be free to Australians. No brainer. Charlotte just dozed off, got her window knocked, nearly had a heart attack. Right. I mean, yeah, right. So they knocked on your window. It's like, now who's doing the wrong thing here? You're just annoying me right now.
There might be like some pepperings of some cheaper stuff, but on the whole, it'll be an enormous price increase.
Hey, Mike.
I'm banking on this being a homeless issue. But, Charlotte, the homeless, they're not in national parks. They're in the cities, right? I've never seen a homeless person in a national park. They're always in the cities.
What's the best thing about camping for you?
Oh, I mean, it's hard to quantify.
I'll tell you the best thing about camping, wiping your butt with a big-ass leaf.
I think without it, though, if you remove that ability to get outdoors, and I hate using the word connect, it's way overdone, but that's really what you're doing.
Homeless are in rural, in cars, families even. Okay, I guess I genuinely haven't seen that. I haven't seen that down here anywhere on the South Coast. I haven't seen the last time I saw a homeless person was in New Zealand at the bus terminal at Frankton, the Frankton bus depot. There's a homeless dude there, lives in the bathrooms. But I've not seen that here in any of this part of the South Coast. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I've not seen it. Because the rent has risen, no one can afford it. Fair. Yeah.
If you lose that ability, it makes you sad. It means you don't pass on those skills and that enjoyment to your kids. And generations go past and they spend less time in the bush. We should be encouraging people to get out in the bush, not discouraging them through high prices. And that's what this increase in prices is doing. It's discouraging them from booking.
Right on, Mick. You won't see them. They're in their cars and in tents trying to have some dignity. Okay. Well, look, let's ask, who do you think we're going to ask? Let's ask ChatGPT. The first question I've got for ChatGPT is, why do Australians have to pay to camp in a national park? Let's just ask the simplest question. Obviously, it's because of amenities, right? So it says Australians often have to pay to camp in national parks due to the combination of environmental protection, facility maintenance, and funding models for public land management. Here's a breakdown. Number one, maintenance of facilities. This is what I said, right? The very first thing. Most national park campgrounds in Australia provide basic infrastructure such as toilets, barbecues, picnic tables, signage, water tanks. These facilities need regular upkeep. Now, the question will be, doesn't our taxes pay for that? Environmental management. Camping puts pressure on natural environments, trampling vegetation, disturbing wildlife, increasing fire risk, generating waste. Fees help fund ranger patrols, erosion control, track maintenance, wildlife protection programs, fire management strategies. Visitor safety and monitoring. Park authorities like New South Wales National Parks and Wildlife and Parks Victoria use funding for emergency response. Fair enough. Trail upkeep to reduce risk of injury. So again, the maintenance, right? Education and maps guides. Budget shortfalls and self-funding models. Most state park agencies operate with limited government funding. Okay. They're a state agency with limited government funding. So who funds them? They're expected to generate revenue themselves. Camping fees are a major part of it. So none of this comes from our taxes? Okay, well, I was wrong there. Let's dig in deeper. Equity and demand management, small fees. They help deter overuse of popular sites, encourage responsible users who value the experience. Money pays. Don't ever let them tell you money doesn't buy happiness. It literally buys you a campsite now. It says here, small fees help. If you don't want to pay, you won't do it. But if you do want to pay, you'll do it. Fund free entry day use areas elsewhere. Okay. Not all sites charge. Some areas allow free or donation-based camping, particularly in less developed or remote locations, but more popular or accessible parks such as the Royal National Park, Kosciuszko, Wilson's Prom usually charge. Common frustrations. Many Aussies question the fees because it feels like paying for land that should belong to the public. This is what I'm going for here. Some sites offer minimal amenities. Yeah, cool. The booking systems are clunky and inflexible. They're damn straight they are. Commercialization of what was once open bushland. Right on. Hey, Dalesky, how you doing, man? What's cracking? If you're planning on raising this point in a video or a live stream, I'm right ahead of you, ChatGPT. I'm doing it right now. You could ask your audience. Okay, audience, Dale, Charla, and anyone else that's watching. Do you think camping in a national park should be free for all Australians, or is a small fee worth it to protect the bush? Want a shorter explanation? Can you? Okay. So my first question will be, so none of our taxes go towards this? Is that correct? You're right to ask that. Some of your tax dollars do go towards national parks, but not nearly enough to cover the full cost of managing them, especially when it comes to camping infrastructure. Here's the clear breakdown. Where your tax dollars do go, your state and federal taxes help fund core park operations, such as rangers' salaries, environmental monitoring, and biodiversity conservation. Excuse me, they were all these points that you just mentioned up here. Trail upkeep, education programs, ranger patrols, erosion. These are all the things that it said up here. Now it's telling us that's what our taxes go towards. Fire management, emergency services, long-term land management, public education. These are baseline functions, and tax revenue helps keep park entry fee in most places, but park entry free. I thought that said fees, especially for day visits. So, okay, then the simplest thing to do here would be to allocate more of the taxes towards the national parks. Why would you make it dearer if what we're reading is correct and our tax dollars already go to this? Then the federal government should allocate a little bit more of the pie and put it in to do this, instead of saying anyone that wants to use it, we're going to charge you more for it. Damn, dude. Good question. Definitely should be free. Free means your taxes pay for it. No such thing as free. But if we're already paying for it, if it's already coming out of our taxes, then you have to bend over again when you want to go and use it. Benon is due for another road trip soon, surely. I got 2 things to address about that. We will get to that. Where your taxes don't fully cover costs, camping is considered an optional extra, not an essential public service. So the added cost for cleaning and servicing toilets, maintaining campgrounds and barbecue areas, managing booking systems, emptying the bins or providing tank water, repairing flood, fire, storm damage to sites, and are often user pays through camping fees. So these 5 points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5 points could be addressed in increasing the allocation from a federal level of those taxes and allocating it towards the national parks, not on rolling that burden to the users. Here's a real example. New South Wales National Parks and Wildlife Service, only about 30 to 40% of their budget comes from the state tax funding. So that's less, a good proportion, less than half. The rest of it comes from the fees, tour licenses and concession leases, and government grants and environmental offsets. So yes, you already pay something via taxes, but not enough to make camping free, especially when usage keeps rising and environmental pressures increase. It's funny, isn't it? Usage keeps rising. Now, again, why would that be the case? Because the population keeps increasing. Population growth equals more percentage of people going camping just by virtue of percentage numbers, right? So more people are doing it, more people are being born, more people are being... The suburbs and the cities are growing larger, so more people want to go camping to escape for their weekends. Isn't that also... Couldn't you also say, and so therefore more taxes are being paid because of more people? So everything else is going up more and more and more, but the fees are going up as well. Now this leads me to, would you like a punchy summary? I'd like to punch someone in the head. What? Hey? No? Who? When? Would you like? Okay, so this leads to the question. This is the big question. I heard that camping on any free land in Finland is 100% free. Can you confirm? Yes, you are correct. Finland allows free camping on most natural land, thanks to the principle known as every man's right. Now, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. Oh, no, I am. Jokamai Enochius. Excuse me, sir. Why did you not pay for this campsite? Jokamanayas. This unique legal tradition grants everyone, locals and visitors, this is not just for Finnish dudes, the freedom to roam and camp on both public and private land. What the smeg? Private as well? Private land. Read that again. This unique legal tradition grants everyone, locals and visitors alike, the freedom to roam and camp on both public and private land, provided it's done respectfully without causing any harm. Holy fuck. Finland, you're doing it right. What you can do under every man's rights. Camp freely. You may set up a tent for short stays, typically 1 to 2 nights, on uncultivated land, including forests, meadows, and shorelines, even if it's privately owned. As long as you're not near someone's home or causing disturbance. Could you imagine this in Australia? Imagine this. You're finding yourself on a coastal stretch and there's a house on the hill and there's a big meadow with a couple of cows grazing. Every man's right, Jokamanahiakus, you can just go and camp there for 2 days as long as you're not causing any problems. In Australia, we don't have guns. You'd get shot. Someone would come out and shoot you with a gun we don't have. There would be trouble. There would be trouble, right? Finnish dudes, Finland. I've always wanted to immigrate. Finland. Holy shit. What else can you do? You can hike, ski, and cycle. You can explore most natural areas without needing permission. What the hell? You can forage. You can pick wild berries, shrooms, and flowers for personal use. You can fish with a line and a rod. Recreational fishing is permitted on most waters without a license. I mean, even in Australia, if you throw a line in the water with a hook on it, you need a license for that. You need to get a fishing license. Why? Because the fisheries need to set up bait areas and catchment and trailer parks and boat ramps. So you need to pay for that. Finland. I don't know. I wouldn't mind going to Finland. In the chat, who defines respectfully and or harm? They would rather. I mean, it seems to work. It's every man's right. That's what it's called. It's called every man's right. Jokamai Henokius. It's every man's right. I mean, you Americans, we've got our God-given right to own a gun, to bear arms. And in Finland, they're like, no, our God-given right is to go camping and fishing. That's what we like. Don't need no gun for fishing. I think the Finnish dudes have got it right. They got it sorted here. The clean air has gone to their heads, Shyla. No way in hell I'd allow total strangers on my land. That's Americans would be like, that's trespass, right? You can't come across there. These people can camp for 2 days. 2 days of camping on someone else's land. That's unbelievable. Important. Okay, so there are exceptions and responsibilities. While the freedom is generous, there are some key rules. No open fires without the landowner's permission. Okay, that's fair. So you can't just crank up a fire except in designated areas. Leave no trace. Pack out all rubbish and avoid damaging vegetation or disturbing wild. I mean, that's the trouble. Like, Australians are thugs pretty much. You'd find all kinds of tins and shit and rubbish and fucking crap everywhere. Aussies are fucked like that. Respect private property. Stay away from yards, gardens, and cultivated fields. Fair enough. So if you find a spot that you want to camp and it's someone's private property, just don't go right into the middle of their meadow and park up, right? Just go to the edge, right where the tree line is, kind of thing. National parks. In many national parks, camping is allowed only in designated areas, and some may require a fee or permit. So they do have the permits and fees as well, but generally it's open slather. Damn, dude. Bonus, free wilderness huts. What the hell? Finland also offers a network of free wilderness huts, Ortajatavat, primarily in the north. These are open to hikers and skiers for short stays and are maintained by the state, and they're free. Maintained by the state, and they're free. They provide basic shelter and are a cherished part of the Finnish outdoor culture. Damn, dude. Comparison to Australia. In contrast, Australia generally requires campers to use designated sites within national parks, often with fees. This is due to different land ownership laws, environmental concerns, and funding models for park maintenance. Let me just check this. In general, would you say Finland has a higher tax rate, because this is important, than Australia? Because if this comes out of the taxes and it's all free, with exceptions, with limitations in Finland, then are they paying more taxes than Australians? Let's see. Yes, in general, Finland has a higher overall tax rate than Australia, especially when it comes to personal income tax and social contributions. Here's a quick comparison. Finland, higher taxes, more public services. Top marginal income tax rate is 56%. That's the top. Average tax rate, middle income earners, 30 to 40. That's kind of the same. I think it's 36 or 35 in Australia. GST value added tax, 24% standard. Social security contributions, mandatory and relatively high, covering things like pensions, unemployment. Okay. In return, free university. Shit. Universal public healthcare, strong social safety nets, generous parental leave, well-maintained public infrastructure, including free wilderness camping. Australia, lower personal tax, less social coverage. Top marginal income tax, 45%. Average is between 20 to 30. Okay. GST is 10%. GST here was 24. Okay, 24 and 30 to 40. Okay. So the middle tax, the average tax rate, middle income is substantially higher, between 30 to 40 in Finland versus 20 to 30 in Australia. I guess the question here is, would you pay a higher tax rate to have facilities and the every man's right? Would you pay for that? Would you, I mean, look, okay. They're going to put the taxes up anyway, right? Taxes are going to go up. They never come down, right? They always go up. So if they put the taxes up and said, yeah, but now you've got this thing called every man's right, and you can go camping willy-nilly, including on someone's property, if you respect their, don't do anything stupid, I'd pay a little more for that in taxes. There's no VAT in the US, 0. Yeah, but you guys are doing it all wrong with everything. Imagine being taxed for services you never used. Seems unfair. No, value-added tax, GST is for goods and services, so you only pay when you use them. So if you buy a good or a service, that's when the GST is applied to it. You don't just pay this tax. It's done at the point of sale. Let me ask the GPT machine. Like, this is just a general question, which I don't know. Is Finland part of the Commonwealth? It's not. I don't think so, but I'm going to assume it's not. No, Finland is not part of the Commonwealth. It's a Commonwealth. Is 56 countries, formerly part of the British Empire. Okay, so I didn't think it was. So let me just ask this question then. Okay. Are there any other countries similar to Finland in regards to, what's the word? I'm gonna use the actual word. Bob, what was that noise? I don't know, but I have the free right to burp. It's called burpomatitis. Where was that word I'm looking for? Where is it? Yeah, Jokamananakis. Are there any countries similar to Finland in regards to Jokamananakis? Yes, several other countries, especially in Northern Europe, have laws or customs similar to the Finland's Jokamananakis, every man's right, which allows public access to natural areas regardless of ownership with certain responsibilities. These countries share a cultural and legal respect for the right to roam. The right to roam. I love it. I love the right to roam. We have our own military attacking our own in LA. Yeah, dude. Put homelessness and national parks AU in ChatGPT. What's the question you want me to ask, Sharla? Yeah. Violent rights are illegal in every country. Countries with similar rights to roam. Sweden and Allemansrätten. That obviously means alles, or German for all. Man is man. Ratten, alles man's rat, all man's rights. Nearly identical to Finland, allows camping, foraging, hiking and swimming on most land. We can't really swim on land. Those crazy Swedes. What's that guy doing? Oh, he's doing his backstroke over there on the ground, just going, ah! Including private land with some limitations. Don't disturb, don't destroy is the guiding rule. Hell yeah, Sweden. I like it. Norway, alles mannes retten. Enshrined in the Outdoor Recreation Act. There's an act that does this. It stipulates you can hire, ski, camp and forage anywhere that's not cultivated. Wild camping allowed up to 2 nights on unfenced land, more with permission. Iceland traditionally had a similar right to roam. Due to tourism pressure, some restrictions now apply. Camping is still allowed in many uncultivated areas, but landowner permission is increasingly required, especially nearing roads or farmland. Denmark, those crazy Danes, it's more limited. Free roaming is only allowed in public forests and some private forests with time restrictions. Wild camping, not generally allowed except for designated primitive camping areas. Okay. Estonia, similar to Nordic countries, public access to nature is a legal right. Camping, hiking and foraging are allowed on most uncultivated land. Latvia and Lithuania, public access to forests, lakes and the seashore is broadly permitted, but camping may be more restricted and sometimes require permission. Man! Free key principles. You must allow access. No, access is granted on uncultivated and private land. Camping typically allowed for 1 to 2 nights without permission. No fires without consent. Leave no trace. Don't enter near homes or disrupt Dude, man, this is so sick. Okay, here are the shitty countries where this does not happen. Countries where this doesn't exist. The UK. A limited right to roam, mainly in Scotland, some English and Welsh national parks. USA, Canada and Australia, heavily regulated. Access generally depends on land ownership and requires permits or fees. Wow, man. I want it. Can we have a referendum? Can we draw a referendum on this, Australia? Can we Australia has the right, and let's make it every person's right, not just man. It's women and man and children. Everyone's right, let's call it. Everyone's right. Now, for this to happen, Australia, don't be a dick. Don't be dicks. Don't smash the shit up. If you're going to take a carton of beer, take a carton of beer and drink it, and then take the empties and dispose of them. Don't leave them. That's the worst thing Aussies do. They drink beers and they just throw the fucking shit away. It's awful. If this is going to be a thing, which I think it should be, mark this in the calendar. It's 2025. Let's get this happening. It's going to be a thing, right? We're going to have this. In the next 10 years, we're going to have this. I'm not proud to be an American, Charlotte. Ooh, shit. I see no attacks from... Okay, do you want to... You know what? Do you want to have this conversation on Beam? I think we've come to the conclusion of this stream, and to keep it all concise, how about I wrap it up and we start a stream out on Beam and we just hang out and chat, talk about that shit there. Don't bring God into this. It's every man's God-given right, though, under the sun. I feel like we've come to the conclusion of this stream. Camping fees suck balls. Camping should be free. It's every man's right. Alles mannes retten. No, what was that's the Swedish. It's Jokamanhanaikas, and everyone should have the ability to go camping for free. I'll say what I choose to do. I will say what I choose to do. You aren't my boss. You can do that. Okay. Well, calm your tits down. Let's wrap this up here. We'll come back out. I'll take 5 minutes to myself, set up my stream. We'll come back on the Beam machine. We'll hang out there and have a bit of a chit chat. I just wanted to come out here and put this down on record. By the way, next week on the stream. Oh, and Charlotte, on the other stream, I'll tell you about some stuff. Next week, Jack behind me stream coming up on that bottle. I'll have to get rid of Poopsy's friend, but we're going to be cracking that. See you in about 10 minutes on the Beam machine. Get him out of there.